Hey guys, Captain Ken here. Well, we're on another project. We had to replace our air conditioner. But this is the panel that covers up my AC, and here's the project we're gonna do. We've had some water damage over time. The air conditioner had leaked. Another one of the issues with it, and it has discolored, stained, and delaminated our teak plywood cover. And I'm going to show you how to fix this. Normally I would just buy a piece of teak plywood and replace it, but it's a 2 foot by 3 foot and you'd have to buy a whole sheet for that. I'm trying to keep it on a budget, but I was in the I was in the woodworking field my entire life. Had my own business for 26 years, and I know I can fix this, and we're going to show you how to do it step by step. Hopefully if you're in a similar situation, it'll save you some time and some money. Well, let's get started, guys. Well, first off, the water has damaged it and it has separated the veneers, and we're going to try to seal this back up, glue it back up, get it back structurally sound. But one of the problems we got right here in the corner, a piece of the inner core has broken out, and that's from neglect and abuse from my half for taking this on and off for the air conditioner, putting a new air conditioner in. So normally you could just fill this in with just any type of plywood if you can get it the same thickness, but since we had cut this piece out to make the bigger vent go in, we're gonna delaminate. I can say that. We're gonna delaminate this, get the inner core out. It will be exactly the same thickness as the other, and we're gonna glue that piece in there, and then we'll have a structurally sound piece to start working with, and we can reshape it, restain it, and revarnish it, and make it look like new. Now let's get started. All right, all I'm doing is using a utility knife, and I'm placing it right on the outside of that inner core. There's that inner core we're talking about. Alright, so I got my inner core cut. It's in 2 pieces here. Next we're going to do, I'm using Type Bond wood glue. I'm going to put a bead in there like so. And the problem is getting it all the way down into that, in between them. So what I do is I take this piece of paper, and I use that to poke it down into the crack as far as I can. Slide it down between. I'm sure there's other ways of doing this, but this won't work for me. And then we'll do the other side too. This coated as good as we can. And right where we're putting our core also in, let's get that covered up pretty good. All right, so I don't really have clamps on the boat, but I have these. These are our clothespins. And we're going to put these on. And they're not very strong, so I'm going to put them side by side by side by side by side. core right there. Make sure you dip any of this glue that leaks off, man, on the surface, because that will screw up its staining ability when we get ready to that point. Well, there we have it. We got it glued up. I'm gonna let this sit overnight, but make sure you keep all the glue off of the front surface, exposed surface, so that you don't have a problem when we go to stain or varnish it and have a different color. All right, we've had this set up overnight. See how it looks. I like it. It's all back together, nice and tight. And we're just going to start working on refinishing it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm trying to get this old finish off from the water damage. And what I'm using, I'm just using a flat razor and I'm scraping it. I'm just trying to remove that old finish. You see that? Almost as smooth as it was. And we're going to finish this up all the way across. So this is where I put that core in. I'm just going to dress that up a little bit. Trim off that excess. Trim off any extra glue I have. Not too bad. What I think I can do, though, I might be able to like trim this whole piece down 1/4 inch. I'm taking off just 1/4 inch of it so I can get rid of this this damaged piece. And then next we're just going to sand this. And I'm sanding this against the grain to start. And then I'll sand it with the grain. And I'll show you what this is going to look like. Because the water damage has made it like a fuzzy on there. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of fuzzy, and right there is where I've sanded. You can see it's kind of bringing it, kind of renewed life back into it there. So I'm going to sand this whole thing like so, and get it to where when I stain it, it's going to be as close to the original as it was. Now where we get to the varnish, you can see where the varnish edge has stopped where I scraped it. We're going to overlay on the sanding on that. So we're going to go a little farther. I did make some scratches with that blade, which is normal, but most of this is going to hide. And we're just going to keep working that until we get this all fit out. And basically I'm sanding off all the little scratches from the utility blade that I used, and any sanding, any of the scratches from sanding it on a perpendicular to that grain from sanding this way. But sometimes it's that loosens up the fibers on the wood a little bit, but we're gonna keep working it. So what we're gonna wind up doing, we're gonna try to put we're gonna see if how it will look just with the varnish on it, and if it doesn't look good, we're gonna wipe it off, and then we'll put a stain on it to try to get that stain. This wood has been around for a while, so it's kind of got a red amber to it from just from being aged, and we're gonna try to make that as close as we can to that same. So I'm just sanding this with a piece of by hand with a sandpaper. You don't want to use a orbital sander on here because this plywood has just a very thin veneer on it. This the teak part on the outside for the you know, the finished part is just a thin veneer. I don't know if you can see that. It's right there. And we don't want to you don't want to sand through that veneer. Then you got a bigger problem than what we have here. So we're going to take our time, and we're going to use I'm just using, this comes off my orbital sander, and I'm just using it as almost like a sanding, just a sheet of, and you can use any, what am I using? 400 here. So I'm trying to get a nice smooth finish before I work on putting the color or matching up the stain or the varnish. So we're just gonna keep sanding this off till I get it nice like I want it. And another thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put a finish on this, some varnish on this, only on this area. And we're gonna use and then we're gonna revarnish the whole thing as a final sheet to get it to smooth and be, you know, an even finish on there. So that's some wood stain. It's red mahogany. This varnish has kind of ambers over time, and we're just going to see if we can match this up. Look at that. So that has varnish on it, and this doesn't. And let's see when I get it wet, kind of blends right in. I think we're going to go with this color and see how it works out. We'll let that dry. So we're going to let that dry, and then we'll do a test area with some varnish and see how that turns out, and then we'll put a final coat on it. All right, now I'm just putting a thin coat of varnish on this. We're just getting it ready for a finish. So we have resanded this, a light sanding, so we can put a top coat of varnish on it. There's our finish, is looking pretty good. We get this varnish on there, and then we'll see how that looks. Obviously, I would have a better finish if I could spray this, but we are doing this on a budget. I think this will lay down pretty good though. So as I'm brushing this and I'm working down, as I bring the brush stroke up, I lift up on it to blend those strokes in. And where the two overlap here, it'll be a nice even transition. All right, there we go, man. We'll let that set up. I think we're gonna have a finished product. Well, there we have it. I don't know if you can see it or not. How's that look? It's a finished product right there. Hey, we appreciate you guys watching the videos. I hope they can save you some time and some money. If you like this, make sure you push the like button and share with your friends. And thanks again, guys.